Hello everyone, I am Chava Periban and I'm here with Vinik Juré. Thanks, I did it. I pronounced your name correctly.
Did it in the first time.
Yes.
In the third time.
Yeah, well, takes time. I'm a slow kid. So I've been, as I told you, I made my homework. I explore all of your activities and I realized that you have a publisher arm. Like you publish some stuff.
Yeah, I do. I have like an editorial branch arm. Yes.
So, but it was interesting because I think usually when people think about publishing, you'll think about books. Mm-hmm. And what I saw in your case is you're taking also like posters and other kind of printed materials, right?
Yeah. And let me give real context for this.
Yeah, make the commercial. Come on, Vinik.
Oaxaca, but I'm going to make the commercial about Oaxaca. Oaxaca is a great place for creative people, and yes, in the bad way and in a good way, because you see this full range or array of people that do amazing activities, and I am part, and I say I'm a baby in the editorial world of Oaxaca. You find the most creative editors and bookmakers that sometimes the book is just a single page. And it's amazing how they conceptualize their practice. So I've been learning with them. And a friend of mine, Erandi Adame, she's from Michoacán, or at least her name.
Erandi,
pardon.
Yeah, that's okay.
Erandi, yeah.
That was beautiful. sorry for...
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's
Pedro.
Pedro, Mexico. Anyways, but
Erandi, she's a great editor. My best friend from Oaxaca, she says.
So she claims.
And she helped me make this map that you're talking about.
Okay, so, and I think like I do want to follow up a little bit of what you're saying, because I remember when I first moved to Oaxaca, you have La Jícara. Mm-hmm. And La Jícara is this restaurant that not only had amazing food, but also had a bunch of independent publisher houses, which at that age, I didn't know that a movement like that existed. And they will bring stuff from all around the planet. I don't know if you remember these poetry books called Ugly Duckling.
No.
They are beautiful. They were tiny. It was all poetry, like gringo poetry, but it was really, really amazing. Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch happening.
A lot of bookmaking and writers, designers making great, awesome books.
So I specifically want to talk about one of the posters that you made, that it's the 7 markets of Valles Centrales, right? Or of the central valleys of Oaxaca.
Back in those days, it's 9 markets.
Oh!
Let's see if I can remember those. But I think I need to make another 3rd edition of that map, because I have found other important markets in the central valleys of Oaxaca, and back then I was just focusing on what people remembered into that were the big markets.
Yeah, and I do want to get into even the idea of a baratillo, which I'm sure that might be another area to explore. But even before that, can you explain, like, this took me a long time when I first got to Oaxaca. So I think that people imagine markets and you imagine something that is there all the time. So that's why supermarkets, right? It's a place where you go, you buy your stuff and it's there. But in Oaxaca, depending where you are and depending on the day of the week, there are specialty markets that have very different behaviors, right? I mean, Tlacolula is not the same one as the Etla. Can you tell us a little bit of why do you think that happens? Nochixtlan, for example, right?
Yes.
Like how do you think about this?
So this is very well documented, but by people that know more. These are archaeologists, historians, but these are network of moving or movable markets. As we say in Mexico, tianguis.
Yeah.
A tianguis is a market that moves
Mercado
around.
sobre ruedas.
Mercado sobre ruedas. My grandmother used to say that in here.
Yeah, but that's more Chilango. That's true.
But it's the same essence. Kind of the essence is that back in the days, peasant farmers went to specific villages that were more suitable because there was more people living within those villages. So these farmers went to those villages, and each day of the week they would have a place to sell their products because they were kind of mid-scale farmers that...
I mean, I love that you say mid-scale because I will say micro, nano farmers.
Micro nano farmers.
Like less than 1 hectare, less than 3 hectares.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you're saying mid-size. I think if somebody thinking of Wisconsin, mid-size is like, it's something very different.
In Wisconsin, they would think mid-size is the whole state of Maine.
Yeah, right, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, no, they are super small scale, 3 acres, 4 acres in those weird terms. So... back in those days, I was doing ethnographic research about food, and that's how I found out that every day of the week there was a market in different towns. So, and they had different dynamics, of course. Let's see if I can recall them. Monday, Miahuatlan. Tuesday, Atzompa, and there's another one. Anyways, Wednesday, Etla. Jueves, Sachila. Thursday, Sachila. Friday, Ocotlan. Saturday, traditionally, Oaxaca City. And Sunday...
Tlacolula.
Sunday, Tlacolula.
Come on, Vinik. That was the easy one.
This is the biggest one. Yes.
Yeah.
But also there, Teotitlán del Valle is also Sunday. But right now, most days of the week, people come down at 6 a.m., from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. to sell their food. So Teotitlán is another one. Okay. And recently I found that Ayoquesco, it's a pretty big town for the market.
Ayoquesco, I've never heard of that.
Ayoquesco de Aldama is after Cimatlán, on the way to Sola de Vega.
Okay, but that's like, I mean, within the Central Valleys, it's really on the border of it.
It's in the Central Valleys. Because also that was another thing that I selected, that I look at the map. And usually Miahuatlan is called or is defined as being part of the mountain region of Oaxaca. But when you look at the map of the central valleys of Oaxaca, of the physiographical area, of the orography, you find that Miahuatlan is within the valleys. There are some mountain hilly area that you have to pass by, but it's mainly in the hill, in the valley of Oaxaca.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because I think again, I wouldn't claim that I understand this in detail, but I think most of us, just people that are in Oaxaca here and there, will say that Central Valleys is mostly like Tlacolula, Matlan, even maybe all the way to Nochixtlan, but that's...
Oh no, that is actually from another...
Really? Nochixtlan is different. It's not Central Valley.
Nochixtlan is different. It's not Central Valleys.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I like maps a lot and I like to look at geography. So, all of those are part of the Southern Mountain Range. And what we call in Oaxaca the Northern Mountain Range is still part of the Southern Mountain Range. It's just called regionally like that. The Northern Mountain Range, but it's part of that. And the Central Valleys, it's like a sea with a little tiny tip in the Etla Valley that goes out of this sea form.
Yeah, which is the exit. That's what exit. Spits you out.
And then the Nochixtlan valleys are in another different area.
Okay, and is there a specialization per products in some of these markets? Because what I can remember, and I just told me that this is not Central Valley, so I'm like cheating a little bit. But I remember that Nochixtlan is the only place where I've been able to find tlayudas de harina. Like just wheat tlayudas, which for me, I will have never, if you will have given me money to bet, I will have told you that there was not such thing as wheat tlayudas in Oaxaca. And there you have them in Nochixtlan.
Yeah. I don't know, but I would say that they are tlayudas because they are stiff.
Yeah.
The meaning of tlayuda for people, even in Mexico, it's tlayuda means stiff.
Stiff tortilla.
Stiff tortilla. And you can find in Oaxaca soft tortilla, blanda.
Yeah.
You can find toasted tortilla, tostada.
Or totopo.
Or stiff tortilla, which is tlayuda. And in the market, they sell to you like that.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that.
Well, I love that you approach them as like blandas or tlayudas.
Planet,
They're
stiff or soft without albur.
Without albur. No double meaning there. Yeah. So is there any, like, I mean, that's for me, that's a specialty, or that's the weird thing that I find on Chixtlan. Can you think of other products that you will say that are very much connected to some of these markets?
Well, for example, in the Etla Valley, you would find a lot of bananas and papayas that are locally grown, or not locally, but regionally grown.
In Jayacatlan.
In Jayacatlan, because they come from this area that goes down into the cañada, into the kind of runoff of the mountain, into the valleys of the mountains. And also Cuicatlan, a lot of people come from those places which are hotter and not necessarily more humid, but there are rivers crossing along them, so there is more humidity to be
able to grow this kind of
water
fruits,
your crops. For example, you can find that. And also other stuff like cardamom.
Cardamomo? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
That thing, okay, I didn't know that.
To go back to Nochixtlan, it's in a different orographic, physiographic region, and we know it in Oaxaca because we speak about that region in the Mixteca as the highlands of the Mixteca.
Mixteca Alta.
Mixteca Alta. And it's called there so they can grow wheat. Wheat is a crop that thrives, or not thrives, but can resist the cold temperatures. So that's why they grow wheat there. And it was also really impressive for me to find local varieties of wheat in Oaxaca.
I once saw them milling the wheat. Do you know how they do that?
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody, but with bulls. You saw that? Like they just put like some fiber on the bottom, like some just like woven fibers on the floor. They throw all the wheat, and then they make like heavy bulls walk around. They don't have meals per se.
Which I'm gonna give a mezcal comment in here, which I hate. I hate that people call taona the meal, because that was not the traditional name.
Okay. Let's get this going.
the name for this kind of meal, it's the same as the milling process in this type of form you're saying in Nochixtlan. That is called era, a stone era.
No, but here there's not even stones.
But
what I've seen is just
wheel, it kind of
no. I've just seen them on just the bull walking on top of the wheat.
But it's kind of like a circled patio.
Well, I just saw it on the field. Maybe they were not even milling it. Now that I think about it, maybe I just had this idea in my head. Maybe they were like breaking the.
They were separating the germ from the.
Probably, yeah. Maybe that was what I was saying. Yeah, that makes a ton more sense. Yeah.
But they actually also mill it there with hammers or even the bull, not like in a sand way, like you want it for dough, but they mill it there. And this piece of thing is called an era.
Yeah.
It comes from Spain, of course. The Spanish people used to do their milling as that as well, and that is it is used for mezcal.
And because you have Mitla, and then you have Magdalena Pasco, they have a bunch of stone. And probably it just made sense. So the Spaniards brought this tradition of milling things, but I think the name Taona, it's pretty recent by the people trying to standardize mezcal practices. Not everybody back in the days used to call their milling practice as Taona. Oh, it's interesting.
I think this is one of the standardizations and losing of some vocabulary. Because of this standardization.
And what is important on this vocabulary is that it tells you an older story. It's a word that you can trace to Nochixtlan, that you can trace to it's a word that opens other windows to Oaxacan history that otherwise you wouldn't have.
With this older story, I heard this biologist theory in the ethnobotanical garden. He says that perhaps the reason we have a Oaxaca right now, a Oaxaca city and a Oaxaca state, for extension, is that Nochixtlan was very important. It was a very big city back in the days, in the colonial times, because of the grana cochinilla, the cochineal.
and which is used to create the most beautiful red, the most expensive red you can think of. Yeah. Oh, that does make sense. And I love Nochixtlan because it does feel like a commercial massive city every chance you walk in. I mean, it's tiny these days, sort of, kind of, but it still has some power to it.
Yes. And I guess this we can trace it back or go back to the market essence of Mesoamerican societies. Like, there is this network of markets, which the Mixteca region has its own network of markets. You can find markets in Nochixtlan, Putla, Tepozcolula, and every day there's one different. Also, they have their network. The Northern Mountain Range have their network in Talea de Castro, in Ixtlan.
What you're telling me now, Vinik, is that this has to become a full-on series of a bunch of... Because I was telling you about the Chilapa market that I went, and it blew my mind. I just found so many products that I had never seen before. Even Central de Abastos in Oaxaca, I always claim it's my favorite part of the city. I think Oaxaca City, I mean, I love it. Had a great time. I will never speak. There's El Rincón de la Alameda, which has given me some of my best nights in life.
Rincón del Artista.
El Rincón well, yeah, but those nights are a little bit darker, if may I say so. Yeah, that's their kind of night. But
we go to dark places sometimes.
Yeah, well, so you need them too. But Central de Abastos for me, like I will just, even going to get some beers there, just sitting down with the old men, get some caguamans and drink with them, for me was like a complete separate world to what the city is. And even people that will claim that, and I disagree fundamentally, but we're not going to discuss about that right now. But people say Oaxaca is getting gentrified and whatever's. I say depends of which streets do you go.
Totally.
Right? Like you go to Central de Abastos, I am tremendously sorry. This is still what it was many decades ago. But yeah, like I think markets and just like opening your eyes there and opening yourself to explore them does give you the pulse of a region. And I wanted to finish this one, and I will really love for you to describe what a baratillo is.
What a baratillo. Well, I also lived in Guanajuato, and I have to say that it has a different context. So, in different places, it has a different context, a baratillo. And even Lagunilla here, it has its own baratillo.
Oh, that's true. Like, that can be, like used stuff, like a flea market, but in the specific context of Oaxaca, it's very particular,
exactly,
right?
And just like the enchiladas suizas in Oaxaca.
Okay, that's a great parallel.
That will be another episode.
Enchiladas suizas. Actually, I met, and I'm just going to say this really quickly, I met a Iranian woman that was trying some second mezcal that had a podcast that made an episode about huevos divorciados.
Okay.
She was like, this is the most glorious name for something you eat. Divorced eggs, but whatever. So
so a baratillo in Oaxaca, it is the place where they sell animals. These are not used animals, or well, we are all used animals.
They're not selling us. Okay, yeah.
But they sell sheep and cows and goats. And then the word baratillo means cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually where you can find cheap stuff, like in the sense of a flea market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what I was crazy for me, I used to live very close to one of those in Etla, and I used to bicycle to work, so I would like cross by it. I can't remember the day in which it happened. I think it was Thursdays. I can remember, but everything is alive. So it is like, these images that we have of the Chinese fish market, where everything, like all the crabs, all the fishes are there in aquariums, and you're picking them. I have never seen the equivalent of that with sheep. I remember like somebody checking the teeth of the donkeys. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. So people check the teeth of the donkey to see how old they are, because that's where it gets expressed. Something I didn't know at all. So it was a type of market, a nomenclature of a market that I never had suspected.
Yeah. And also, like, the essence of these markets is that I don't like to use the word origin, because it's always a transition. There's not a moment when in time that you say that in this moment somebody arbitrarily says that it existed. No.
What is the original origin? God knows.
Yeah,
and there's not such a thing. Yeah.
No. So in kind of the common aspects of these markets throughout history, to be more
Precise,
academically precise, is that farmers went to sell stuff. So it's farmers selling stuff to other farmers in the 1800s, in the 1900s. So you find stuff that you usually don't find in other places. So you find sticks and laces made with
so
with
it's
ropes.
an industry convention. It's not for the common public. It is more for people that are actually working in these areas.
And right now, of course, they are entangled. I like this word, entangled, with plastics that come from China and Philippines and God knows where. But the thing is that they still sell things that make sense for the people that use them in their everyday lives.
Well, yes, and I mean, as much as we hate it, plastic, it is sometimes at its use, it has certain advantages over natural fibers. Sometimes,
of course,
cheaper, faster to make. So it's not. I mean, one has to understand limited resources and easier lives. Like, of course, like plastic rope. Like a plastic container that is not made of clay, so it's easy to get up and down. It won't break easily. But still, what I love is there's so many natural fibers still in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they're useful, because they're relevant.
And they're beautiful.
And they're beautiful. And they're beautiful, of course. Yeah. I guess the point is that if you can use something and it's going to last, you will use it.
Okay.
And this is also another example of use value. Plastic could be important.
Yeah, I struggle with that one, and that's a whole different, even for fermentation. But that's a whole
different podcast.
That's a whole different
name.
episode. So, and I said that I had already asked you the last question, but I have a last one, and I apologize for that, for torturing you a little bit more. Which is your favorite market?
My favorite market for sure is Ocotlan.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of the cool huaraches, or I'm wearing a Ocotlan snake belt. Yeah. I mean, you cannot see it in the video, but I'm wearing a Ocotlan snake belt that was really hard to get.
Yeah.
And I love it. But why Ocotlan?
I love the vibes there. I love. Yeah. It's I think all the markets are crazy. Like. A friend of mine, Bia, she's from Brazil. She made her PhD thesis in Ocotlan, and she made this lovely piece of research about napkins, the traditional napkins embroidered with a piolín. With
Piolín as a
what's
cartoon.
What's his name in English?
Oh, I cannot, I don't know. I just call him Piolín. It's
the yellow bird.
Yellow bird that was in Space Jam. Right? That's Piolín.
So she found amazing things there in Ocotlan. And she said that women selling stuff are in another state of mind when they're selling.
They're possessed.
They don't want to talk to you. They just want to sell. And sometimes they might be a little aggressive for the foreigner that is not
used
to interview somebody in the market, of course. But I feel that this market, it's full with life. It's not as filled with tourists as Tlacolula. Mm-hmm. You find a lot of diversity coming from Cimatlan. You find a lot of good mezcal, of course, because Minas is so close there.
Oh, okay.
I like it. And they have good seasoning for their food, like almond mole.
Yeah.
I love almond mole.
Okay, Vinik, so I'm going to go to Oaxaca. Let's go there. I'll bring some audio equipment, and maybe we can do a specialized episode on the Ocotlan market in the future.
With the women selling there.
Well, yeah, we won't be able to bother them. They're possessed, so we won't be able to do that. But I think we can get something out of it.
Yeah, we can get something.
Chido. Well, Vinik, cheers again. Really fundamental pleasure, señor.
Thank you very much.
See you pretty soon.
Chava.
Estuvo chingón este, güey. Thanks so much, Vinik. This was some quality fun. Your host is Chava Periban, me myself, and I tend to invite people that have tremendous amounts of love for what they do. As usual, Roy is in charge of all sounds and music, and nos vemos en los mercados. Hasta luego.